All right, let's talk about one of the biggest and, let's be honest, most frustrating problems in AI today. We're going to dig into a technique called RAG, which is pretty much the key to making AI something we can actually count on.
So let's start here. We've all seen this, right? You ask an AI a question, and it gives you back this answer that sounds so sure of itself, but it's completely, utterly wrong. It's a massive issue, and it's seriously holding AI back from what it could be.
You know, there's an official term for this: hallucination. It's when a model just generates stuff that's false or nonsensical, but serves it up to you like it's a proven fact. And this is exactly what we need to stop, especially when you're talking about professional settings where the stakes are incredibly high.
So how do we fix it? Well, we give the AI a librarian. But not just any librarian. This one has a jetpack. And that's going to be our core idea for understanding what Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG, is all about. At its heart, RAG is a really simple but incredibly powerful concept. It stops the AI from just guessing, or as the source material puts it, just vibing. Instead, RAG forces the AI to ground its answers in actual facts by making it look things up in an external knowledge base, like, say, your company's internal documents, before it even tries to write a response.
So let's break this metaphor down. First, you have the library. That's all your company's data. Then there's the librarian's brain, which uses something called embeddings to create a mental map of it all. The jetpack is what finds the right info in a flash. A fact-check step makes sure it's the most relevant piece of info, and finally, the AI generates an answer. And here's the most important part: it points you directly back to the sources it used.
Okay, so how do we actually build this system? Well, it all begins with step 1, organizing the AI's library. This is all the foundational work that has to happen offline, way before a user ever asks their first question.
This process is called the ingestion pipeline. First, you ingest all your documents, PDFs, web pages, you name it. Then you chunk them up into smaller, more manageable pieces. The next step, embed, is absolutely crucial. This is where we turn each chunk into a series of numbers, called a vector, that captures its meaning. Think of it like a unique GPS coordinate on a giant map of ideas. And finally, you store all these vectors in a special database, called a vector store, which is basically our AI's high-tech library.
And that chunking part, it is so important. It's a classic Goldilocks problem. If your chunks are too small, they lose all the surrounding context, and the AI has to invent the glue to stick them together, which, you guessed it, leads to hallucinations. But if your chunks are too big, your search results get really noisy and full of irrelevant stuff. Getting this just right is a real art.
Now, to make the search super precise, we add metadata. You can think of it as a digital catalog card for every single chunk. So for a dental clinic, this might be the document type, the clinic's ID, or the specific procedure. This lets us filter things with surgical precision later on, so we're only searching through the documents that actually matter.
Okay, the library is organized, the prep work is done. Now for the really exciting part. Step 2, finding answers at Mach 3. This is what happens in real time the moment a user asks a question.
Let's make this real. Imagine a user at that dental clinic asks a very specific and very important question. What is the post-op advice for swelling after a wisdom tooth extraction? You really want to get this one right.
So the system does its first pass, and what it gets back is kind of messy. You've got some general advice, a pricing brochure, even a consent form for a totally different procedure. The correct answer is in there, but it's totally buried in a bunch of noise. And that's the whole issue, isn't it? If we just hand this messy list over to the AI, we're not much better off than where we started. The best answer is hidden. And this is exactly where our librarian's fact check saves the day.
This step is called reranking, and it is a massive lever for accuracy. A special re-ranker model looks at that initial messy list and reorders it based on what's truly relevant to the original question. And look at that! The correct answer is now right at the top, followed by other super relevant documents. All the noise is just gone.
So you might be asking, how do we get that level of precision? Well, this brings us to what I'd call the art of precision retrieval.
The first tool we have is semantic search. This is powered by those embeddings we talked about. It finds documents based on their actual meaning. It's smart enough to understand that swelling after extraction is basically the same idea as post-op inflammation, even though the words are different.
But sometimes meaning isn't enough. You need the exact keywords.
That's where lexical search comes in. It's less about the general vibe and more about finding documents that contain the precise words swelling and wisdom tooth. It's incredible for precision.
But here's the real pro move. The best systems don't choose one or the other. They use something called hybrid search, which combines both. You get the broad contextual understanding of semantic search and the pinpoint accuracy of lexical search. It really is the best of both worlds.
Now, if you're thinking about building this, you'll come to a key fork in the road. On one side, you have managed RAG services. They're super fast to set up and great for standard needs because they handle all the tricky parts for you. On the other side, you can build a totally custom RAG system. This gives you complete control for advanced tuning. Just watch out for the gotchas. With managed services, some things, like how you chunk your documents, might be locked in forever. And with custom, well, you're responsible for building and tuning the whole thing.
Okay, let's zoom out and bring this all together. At the end of the day, all of this work, all these techniques, they're all about one single idea. Grounded AI is trustworthy AI.
The whole point of RAG is to move away from an AI that just vibes, one that just gives you its best guess based on its training data, and toward an AI that actually cites its sources. It's all about accountability, being able to verify the answers, and building a system that you can actually rely on.
And I want to leave you with this one powerful idea from the source material that just sums up the whole philosophy perfectly. When correctness matters, don't think harder, fetch the right page. And that, right there, is how you build an AI that you can finally trust.